It is one of the most powerful tools for cultivating inner strength in a world filled with constant noise, distractions, and the urge to respond immediately. Choosing silence is an act of conscious self-mastery. Silence allows the mind to settle, the heart to quiet, and the spirit to awaken. When we speak less and listen more, not just to others, but to the deeper currents within ourselves, we begin to understand who we truly are beyond external circumstances. It is in this quiet space that inner strength is nurtured, where courage grows not through reaction, but through thoughtful presence. The strength that silence builds is different from the kind often portrayed in society, which relies on loud declarations, visible achievements, or confrontation. True strength is subtle, it is resilient, patient, and deeply rooted. It does not need validation because it arises from a profound sense of self-trust. A silent person does not feel compelled to explain every thought, justify every action, or defend every choice. Instead, they move through life with a calm confidence, knowing that their power lies not in proving themselves to others, but in the integrity of their own being. Every word spoken in haste or frustration may reveal a lack of control, but every pause, every moment of quiet observation builds composure and fortifies character. When we embrace silence, we create an internal environment where reflection and clarity can flourish. In moments of stillness, the mind naturally begins to sort through the clutter of thoughts, emotions, and distractions. Problems that seemed insurmountable when faced with frantic noise start to appear with new perspectives. Solutions emerge not from force or pressure, but from a gentle, grounded understanding of the situation. This is why many great leaders, thinkers, and spiritual masters throughout history have emphasized the importance of silence. It is in the absence of external clamor that insight, wisdom, and resilience are cultivated. Moreover, silence strengthens emotional intelligence. When we refrain from reacting immediately to provocations or challenges, we allow ourselves to understand our own emotions fully before responding. This practice of mindful silence is not passive, it is active mastery over oneself. The mind becomes less impulsive, less driven by fleeting desires or fears. Decisions are no longer rushed, interactions become more thoughtful and deliberate. People who have developed the habit of silence often demonstrate an uncanny ability to navigate complex situations without unnecessary conflict, because their responses are measured, intentional, and rooted in self-awareness. Another dimension of the inner strength developed through silence is resilience. Life inevitably presents hardships, disappointments, and challenges. Those who have cultivated silence have a sanctuary within themselves, a place of calm that cannot be easily disturbed by external turbulence. This inner refuge allows one to face adversity with equanimity. When external circumstances are chaotic, the silent mind remains anchored. It is like a deep lake that reflects the sky clearly, regardless of the winds above. This stability becomes a source of strength, not only for oneself, but also for those around, as calm presence naturally inspires confidence, trust, and peace in others. In silence, we also learn the art of observation. By listening more and speaking less, we become acutely aware of subtle cues, unspoken truths, and underlying patterns in the world. Observation through silence sharpens perception, allowing us to act with precision rather than reaction. The silent observer notices details that others miss, understands situations more deeply, and anticipates outcomes more accurately. This capacity is invaluable, for strength is not merely physical or verbal. It is the intelligence of knowing when to act, when to wait, and when to conserve energy for the right moment. Finally, silence is a source of alignment with one's higher purpose. When the noise of daily life subsides, we reconnect with our deeper values, goals, and passions. Decisions made in this state of quiet are more authentic, more aligned with who we are at our core. Inner strength, therefore, is not about domination or control over others. It is about mastery over oneself, about living in harmony with one's true nature, and about acting from a place of centered clarity. Silence, in its essence, is a teacher. It teaches patience, discipline, perception, and resilience. It is a sanctuary where strength is quietly forged, like steel tempered in fire but polished in stillness. Each moment of silence adds a layer of fortitude, creating a reservoir of power that does not shout but manifests naturally in action, presence, and influence. Those who master the art of silence discover that they do not need to seek strength externally, for it has already taken root within, growing quietly, steadily, and profoundly, awaiting the moment it is needed most. Silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is the presence of attention, of awareness, and of deep receptivity. In the quiet, life communicates with subtlety. Opportunities, insights, and guidance are constantly arriving, but in a world full of noise, haste, and distraction, we often fail to perceive them. By cultivating silence, we attune ourselves to the language of life that cannot be heard in clamor or haste. When the mind is calm and the heart is patient, the universe begins to reveal itself in ways that are both gentle and profound. Every moment carries signals, signs, synchronicities, nudges, and intuitions that guide us toward our highest potential. But when the mind is crowded with constant chatter, worry, or the compulsion to act, these signals are drowned out. Silence functions like a tuning fork. It refines perception and sharpens awareness, allowing us to discern what is truly aligned with our path. It is in these quiet moments that clarity emerges, showing us where to invest our energy, whom to trust, and which direction to pursue. Life speaks not only through events, but through subtle cues, a fleeting thought, a sudden sense of certainty, a gentle shift in circumstances. Those attuned to silence recognize these as messages to be observed and followed. The power of receptivity lies in restraint. A silent person does not rush to grasp every opportunity that appears or react to every situation that arises. Instead, they wait with attention, observing patterns and timing. In doing so, they distinguish between what is temporary noise and what is meaningful guidance. This is not passivity. It is a deliberate and conscious form of engagement with life. The mind, when uncluttered, becomes like clear water. It reflects truth with precision and allows the hidden depths to be seen. Through this reflection, one begins to navigate life with insight rather than impulse, with understanding rather than reaction. Intuition, one of the most profound tools we possess, flourishes in silence. Intuition is not the result of logical deduction or external advice. It is the subtle voice of the self, of life, and of the universe speaking to us. Yet, to hear it, we must create a space free from distraction. The more we practice silence, the stronger this inner guidance becomes. Decisions that once seemed overwhelming are clarified. Choices that once appeared risky are illuminated with perspective. Life begins to feel less like a series of random events and more like a coherent, interconnected flow where the next right step is always revealed to those who are patient enough to wait. Silence also allows for a deeper understanding of human interactions. When we quiet our own voices, we begin to truly listen, not just to words, but to intentions, emotions, and unspoken truths. This heightened awareness strengthens relationships and fosters empathy. We perceive needs and desires that might otherwise remain hidden, enabling us to act with wisdom and compassion. In essence, silence is the doorway through which connection, understanding, and authentic communication emerge. Another profound aspect of silence is its role in timing. Life unfolds according to its own rhythm, often outside our control. When we remain silent, we resist the urge to force outcomes prematurely. We learn to trust that what is meant for us will arrive in its proper moment, and we recognize that rushing or forcing can obscure the signals that life sends. The silent mind is patient, alert, and receptive, able to act decisively when the moment aligns perfectly. In this way, silence becomes not just a refuge, but a tool for mastering the flow of life itself. The benefits of receptivity extend to creativity and problem-solving as well. Many breakthroughs, ideas, and solutions come when the mind is still, not when it is cluttered with external noise or incessant activity. Silence fosters insight, allowing the subconscious mind to reveal connections that might otherwise remain hidden. The creative process is nurtured in this fertile ground, and solutions often appear naturally without strain or forced effort. Ultimately, silence opens the door to harmony with life's intelligence. It creates a state of openness where signals are received clearly, where intuition is trusted, and where actions flow naturally from awareness. Those who cultivate silence do not struggle to control life, they align with it, becoming conduits through which clarity, opportunity, and wisdom emerge. Life begins to move toward them organically, effortlessly, and in perfect timing, as if the universe itself conspires in response to their quiet receptivity. Silence, then, is not merely an absence of noise. It is an active state of attentiveness, perception, and harmony. It allows us to observe, understand, and respond with clarity. By embracing silence, we become attuned to the subtle language of life, learning to recognize signals, trust intuition, and act with insight. It is a practice of listening deeply, waiting patiently, and moving in alignment with the natural flow of existence. In this receptive state, the world begins to reveal its hidden patterns, and what we seek starts to find its way to us without force, without struggle, and with effortless grace. Silence is more than a pause in conversation or a moment without sound. It is a shield, a sanctuary, and a source of energy preservation. In modern life, energy is constantly being drained through endless communication, social obligations, distractions, arguments, and emotional turbulence. Every word we speak, every reaction we give, and every conflict we engage in consumes mental, emotional, and spiritual resources. When we cultivate silence, we conserve this precious energy, directing it toward actions, intentions, and relationships that truly matter. Silence becomes not a void, but a powerful reservoir of strength, clarity, and vitality. Energy is the currency of life. Those who speak excessively or react impulsively often find themselves exhausted, frustrated, or depleted, as if their personal power has been scattered and dispersed. In contrast, the silent individual moves through the world with deliberate restraint. Each word, each gesture, each interaction is measured, purposeful, and meaningful. By choosing silence over unnecessary arguments, over explaining oneself repeatedly, or over chasing validation, one preserves energy for the situations and people that genuinely deserve it. In this way, silence is not a retreat from the world, but a strategic choice to protect the self from unnecessary depletion. Silence also acts as a protective boundary. In the presence of negativity, gossip, or conflict, the instinct to respond impulsively is natural. Yet, every reaction to negativity strengthens the cycle of tension and consumes energy that could be invested more wisely. Choosing silence allows one to step back, detach, and observe without being pulled into the turbulence. It is a way of asserting control over one's own state of being. The silent person is not passive, they are vigilant, calm, and measured. By maintaining this inner equilibrium, they create a space in which their energy remains intact and their influence remains potent. Another profound way silence protects energy is by minimizing mental clutter. The human mind tends to generate constant chatter, planning, worrying, judging, or replaying conversations. Every unnecessary thought consumes energy, leaving the mind fatigued and the body drained. Silence allows the mind to rest and reset. It creates an internal environment where thoughts can be observed without attachment, decisions can be made without impulsiveness, and awareness can expand. In this calm state, energy is conserved, clarity emerges, and the individual becomes capable of more thoughtful, intentional action. Silence also teaches discernment. Not every conversation, interaction, or demand merits a response. By speaking less and listening more, the silent person naturally evaluates which engagements are worthy of attention and which are not. This discernment prevents the habitual exhaustion of reacting to trivial matters or engaging in situations that drain rather than replenish energy. Life becomes less about constant output and more about strategic, deliberate participation. Each interaction becomes a choice, not an obligation, and each word becomes a tool of influence, not a source of depletion. Emotional energy, too, is preserved through silence. Human emotions can be volatile, and responding immediately to irritation, fear, or disappointment often intensifies the emotional drain. Silence allows emotions to settle and be observed without immediate reaction. In this space, one develops mastery over emotional responses, choosing actions that are deliberate, composed, and constructive rather than impulsive. Over time, this practice builds resilience and stability. It allows one to engage with the world from a place of inner strength rather than reactive fragility. Furthermore, silence fosters spiritual and creative replenishment. Moments of quiet are moments of restoration, where inspiration, insight, and intuition can flow unimpeded. The energy preserved in silence becomes fuel for creativity, problem solving, and spiritual growth. Like a battery charged in stillness, the silent individual is ready to act with clarity, focus, and effectiveness when the moment calls. This is the energy that transforms potential into action, ideas into results, and inner strength into influence. Ultimately, silence is a deliberate practice of self-preservation. It is a conscious choice to protect one's mental, emotional, and spiritual resources from unnecessary drain. It is not isolation, but empowerment, not weakness, but strategy. Those who master silence understand that energy is finite, and that by conserving it, they amplify their capacity to act, to create, and to thrive. In protecting their energy, they are better positioned to navigate challenges, seize opportunities, and live in alignment with their purpose. Silence, therefore, is not empty, it is full of potential, insight, and energy that accumulates quietly and grows steadily. Those who embrace it find that the world does not need to be chased or controlled. With energy preserved, clarity maintained, and focus sharpened, life begins to unfold naturally, opportunities emerge effortlessly, and the path ahead becomes visible through the calm and protective power of silence. Silence is more than stillness. It is a teacher of timing, a cultivator of awareness, and a guide to patience. In a world that prizes speed, instant results, and immediate gratification, silence becomes a rare sanctuary where we can learn the art of waiting wisely. True patience is not passive. It is an active, conscious choice to trust the natural unfolding of life. Silence allows us to step out of the constant rush, to observe the flow of events, and to align ourselves with the rhythm of the universe rather than resisting it. In this alignment, patience becomes effortless, natural, and deeply empowering. When we speak less and quiet the mind, we create a space where time slows down internally. The urgency that drives impulsive decisions, unnecessary reactions, and constant striving begins to fade. In this space, we learn that life has its own timing and that forcing outcomes rarely produces the desired results. The silent individual develops the ability to wait without anxiety, to watch without interference, and to act only when the moment is fully ripe. Patience, therefore, is not mere endurance. It is the art of knowing when to engage and when to allow life to unfold. Silence also sharpens perception, which is a key component of patience. When the mind is quiet, subtle signals from life, from people, and from our own intuition become more perceptible. We notice patterns, understand the consequences of action versus inaction, and can anticipate outcomes more clearly. This awareness reduces the need for hurried reactions and impulsive choices. Instead, actions arise naturally, in alignment with the right timing and circumstances. In this way, patience cultivated through silence is not the absence of action. It is intelligent, deliberate engagement guided by clarity and understanding. Another essential dimension of silence is its ability to reduce emotional turbulence. Impatience often stems from internal unrest, frustration, fear, or desire that pushes us to act before the moment is ready. Silence allows us to observe these emotions without being overwhelmed by them. In doing so, we learn to separate reaction from response, desire from necessity, and urgency from wisdom. Emotional equilibrium gained through silence strengthens patience because it anchors us in a calm, stable state. From this stability, we can wait, act, and respond with a composure that is unshaken by external pressures or delays. Patience through silence also teaches trust in life, in timing, and in our own capacity to navigate challenges. When we resist the impulse to force outcomes, we cultivate faith that what is meant to come will arrive in its own perfect moment. This trust is not passive resignation. It is an empowered surrender to the natural flow of life, an acknowledgement that our efforts are most effective when aligned with timing and readiness. Through silence, the impatient mind transforms into a mind that is alert, receptive, and wise, capable of discerning when to act and when to wait. Silence encourages reflection, which reinforces patience. In the quiet, we can review experiences, learn from mistakes, and plan for future actions without the distraction of constant noise. This reflection fosters a long-term perspective, allowing us to see beyond immediate frustrations and to understand that every event, every delay, and every challenge carries a lesson or a purpose. Patience, therefore, becomes a skill that deepens with experience, guided by the calm and steady influence of silence. Furthermore, silence nurtures endurance in a way that action alone cannot. Life often tests our resolve with waiting, setbacks, or slow progress. The silent mind remains anchored during these trials, conserving energy, maintaining clarity, and cultivating the quiet confidence that the right moment will arrive. By practicing silence, we develop the inner rhythm to navigate these periods with grace and resilience, rather than impatience or despair. Ultimately, the mastery of patience through silence transforms not just how we wait, but how we live. We begin to move with intention rather than impulse, to act with discernment rather than haste, and to trust that the outcomes aligned with our highest purpose will manifest naturally. Silence becomes the foundation for this inner mastery, teaching that timing matters, that restraint is powerful, and that patience is the silent strength that shapes both character and destiny. In embracing silence, we cultivate a mind that is calm, a heart that is steady, and a spirit that trusts. Patience becomes not a burden but a practice of harmony with life's unfolding. It is in this quiet mastery that the seeds of opportunity, growth, and fulfillment begin to emerge. Ready to be recognized and embraced at the perfect moment. Silence is more than a personal refuge. It is a bridge to the natural rhythm of life. When the mind is quiet and the heart is still, we begin to notice the currents of energy that guide existence. Life is constantly moving, shifting, and evolving, yet most people resist its natural flow, pushing against circumstances, forcing outcomes, or chasing after what seems urgent. Silence teaches us to step out of this resistance, to move in harmony with the world rather than against it. In doing so, we discover that alignment with life's natural flow is not passive. It is an active, conscious, and profoundly empowering state of being. When we embrace silence, we begin to listen, not just to the external world, but to the subtle voice within ourselves. This internal clarity allows us to recognize what resonates with our true nature and what does not. Opportunities, relationships, ideas, and circumstances begin to present themselves with effortless synchronicity. In silence, we are attuned to timing, to the unseen patterns that connect events, and to the deeper wisdom that guides the unfolding of life. We stop forcing results and start moving with a gentle confidence that the right things will emerge naturally. Alignment through silence is also a matter of energy. Every word spoken, every reaction made in haste, and every attachment to control disperses energy and creates friction with life's flow. By choosing stillness, we conserve our energy and direct it where it is most effective. This allows us to operate from a place of strength and presence rather than urgency or desperation. Energy, when guided by stillness, becomes magnetic. It attracts circumstances and people that are in harmony with our purpose. The more we cultivate silence, the more effortlessly life responds, revealing that flow is not about control, but about receptivity and intentionality. Silence also cultivates discernment, enabling us to distinguish between what is truly aligned with our path and what is not. In the quiet, we can see situations with clarity, perceive opportunities without distortion, and act without confusion. This awareness allows us to navigate life with precision, choosing actions that are in rhythm with our goals, values, and the unfolding of our higher purpose. The silent mind does not react impulsively. It observes, evaluates, and moves at the right moment, creating harmony between intention and action. Moreover, silence fosters resilience and trust in the natural order. Life is unpredictable, and outcomes are not always immediate. The practice of stillness teaches patience, acceptance, and faith that what is meant to come will arrive in its own time. We stop struggling against delays, setbacks, or uncertainties. Instead, we allow life to guide us, confident that the currents of time and circumstance are aligned with our ultimate growth. This trust transforms our experience of life from one of tension and frustration to one of harmony and ease. Creativity and inspiration also flow more freely in silence. When the mind is uncluttered, insights arise effortlessly. Ideas emerge not through force, but through alignment with the intuitive intelligence that pervades life. The silent individual becomes a channel through which clarity, innovation, and solutions naturally appear. In this state, effort is no longer about striving against obstacles, but about co-creating with the natural rhythm of life, allowing energy to move seamlessly from intention to manifestation. Finally, silence connects us to a sense of wholeness and purpose. When we stop shouting, resisting, or pushing, we discover that life itself provides the answers, opportunities, and experiences we seek. By listening deeply, acting consciously, and conserving our energy, we align with the universal flow. In this alignment, we realize that everything we desire, every lesson we need, and every connection we seek arrives in its proper time and form. In conclusion, silence is the ultimate gateway to living in harmony with life. It is through stillness that we build inner strength, sharpen our perception, conserve our energy, cultivate patience, and align with our natural flow. The practice of silence transforms existence from a series of struggles and pursuits into a graceful dance with life itself. Everything we seek does not need to be chased. It comes to us when we are ready, when we are aligned, and when we have created the quiet space within ourselves to receive it. Silence is not empty. It is full of potential, wisdom, and power. Those who embrace it discover that life is not a battle to be won, but a flow to be harmonized with. In the calm of silence, we are guided, supported, and illuminated. Life moves naturally toward those who listen, wait, and act with awareness. And in this gentle alignment, we realize the profound truth. When we remain silent, centered, and present, everything we need comes to us effortlessly, beautifully, and at the perfect moment.